Hello everyone. This video is about a bit of hidden lore that actually hasn't been found yet, but I'm going to talk about some lore that has been found and then talk about the hidden content. So if you haven't played through the Elder Kiln quest series with all the TokHaar and TzHaar, and if you haven't played through The World Wakes and you don't want it spoiled, I'd recommend stopping now because otherwise it will be spoiled for you. So first off, a little bit about the TokHaar and a bit about them. So they were actually created by the Elder Gods as a tool to create mountains to help the Elder Gods create the worlds. If you talk to TokHaar Hawk in the Fight Kiln, he actually says that the Elder Gods, well, he doesn't exactly say Elder Gods, he says they're masters, but it's the Elder Gods. He says that they created tools like the Stone of Joss as tools of creation, and the TokHaar are just another one such artifact, as he says there. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah, that all of those were tools of creation. And I'm also interested in how that actually worked, because we don't really see much about the Elder artifacts being used as artifacts of creation, especially things like that sword that Gothics used to become a god. I don't know how a sword would be an artifact of creation, but okay. And this is another interesting thing that he says. If you ask if his masters were gods, he says not as we would define them, because we sort of define gods as Zamorak, Gothics, Zaros, Saradomin, and those. And he says that all of those gods were just corporeal beings who ascended to godhood using elder artifacts, which I think is something that's been hinted at quite strongly, because we knew that that's how Zamorak became a god, and that now we know that that's how Gothics became a god, and so he's sort of extending it to all the other current things that we know as gods, and so that the Elder Gods are the only real gods, and then all these other ones are just something else, sort of a bit of an in-between, I guess. So that I think that's really interesting. And so yeah, that's mostly it for the TokHaar. You can read a bit about the other lore about them if you just talk to him, and I'm sure the wiki has a good bit about that, so I think it's just, yeah, really interesting to talk about the lore. But the actual lore that's hidden that I wanted to talk about in this video is a release after the Brink of Extinction quest. There's supposedly this one gal that's wandering around RuneScape, and you need to have these certain hidden set conditions in order to make him appear, and no one's been able to find him since that quest was released, and that was quite a while ago now. And so I've got a link in the description, a quick find code to a thread that's all about this, and I'm not going to explain everything that people have tested, but there is a whole lot that people have tested to try and find it, like wearing full sets of obsidian gear and talking to all sorts of NPCs, searching through all sorts of areas using rings of visibility, fire capes, like using onyx gems and obsidian stuff on the TokHaar, or on the TzHaar champion in the Champions Guild, just stuff that you wouldn't believe and that most people probably wouldn't think of, but which may actually result in finding this gal. And the reason that we want to find this guy is because he will, Mods2 has said that you'll be able to find this gal somewhere and then take him back into the volcano and bring him to this bookcase right next to the Fight Cauldron, and he'll be able to decode the book, well, the TzHaar reading orbs that are in there, and so hopefully that'll give us a bit more of the ancient TzHaar lore, which I'm very much looking forward to when someone actually finds this. And so if you're really interested in looking for it, please take a look at that thread. I'm sure they'd enjoy the help. Make sure that you read through at least the first page of it, though, because there are a lot of things that people have already tested, and that way you don't repeat stuff that's already been done. And so I don't really have a whole lot else to talk about. Just kudos to those guys who are working hard finding out what the lore is, or what the reward from this finding this gal is. And yeah, so I've also got a link in the description to some posts by Mod2 in those threads, and so he gives some hints in there which are also listed in the quick find code link. But if you want to just see Mod2's posts, there's that too. And so that's really it for this video. I hope you guys found the little bit of lore about the TokHaar that I mentioned a bit interesting. And so thanks to Ervin Hoti for sending me the message about this, and thanks for watching.